you know, the people who are running the world now are millennials and Gen Zs.
Let's hit Bill with some facts and some logic here. Dianne Feinstein, 1933, 1933, 1934, 1944, 1950. Sessions, 46, 47, 50, 51.
That people just don't grow up overnight. Society doesn't. More racism.
But for God's sakes, it's time.
Right?
It's 400 fucking years that we've dealt with this.
Oh.
And whoa, fucking Heisenberg dropping the Fs.
Our country still has not taken responsibility.
Have to pay respect.
For what?
For the history of the systemic racism that's in this country.
What should we do more?
Well, I mean, for one thing, critical race theory, I think, is essential to be teaching.
It depends on what you mean by that.
Well, I mean teaching how the race trade and racism is systemic in everything we've done, in government, in social activities.
Yes, it has been.
I mean, it's embedded in it.
It's like, for example, why the Second Amendment really was, I mean, this is one person's theory, but I think it's the truth. The Second Amendment really has to do with, in a country where you were keeping hostile people in chains, you needed guns you needed very loose reins on guns to keep the lid on that.
Yeah.
So that has a lot to do with why other countries don't have like a Second Amendment the way we do.
And we didn't have an organized army. We didn't have an organized militia, so you had to form one quickly and be able to get the arms quickly when we were being attacked.
Exactly.
So,
but critical race theory can mean it's just one of these catch-all terms. If you mean we should honestly teach our past, of course. If you
wait. Who is it a catch-all term for, though? Like, leftists know what fucking critical race theory means. It's the right who has turned it into a catch-all nothing term. You can't even decipher what the fuck it even is talking about anymore, because the right has turned it into anything that's not what's the word? Patriotic, fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Propaganda. Like, it's very obviously not the same. Like yeah, no shit. This is a problem you should be talking to somebody on the right about. Their mischaracterization and misdefining of what critical race theory is. And also, yeah, the like he said, systems. Like, it's not that everybody who is like everybody in America is racist or something. It's that the systems were built with race in mind, specifically that black people are property.
You mean more what the 1619 book says, which is that it's just the essence of America and that we are irredeemable? That's just wrong. It's not.
I mean,
okay.
Right. I agree with that. But even teaching our past and being honest and owning up to who we are as a country and the history of it.
Most schools are doing that. I mean, I'm sure there are ones in Texas that are not.
Look, in Florida, they're
I'm sure there's ones in Texas that aren't. Texas, what? The second largest state in the union? Oh, yeah, it's fine. Like, if Texas doesn't, it's like, fine. It's only how many millions of people who will be miseducated on their own history. That's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. I don't know what everyone's freaking out about. Like, yeah, it's fucking bad. Like, what the fuck do you mean?
They
also, it's not just Texas. It's Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Georgia, Florida specifically. We already heard about the Florida one. Like, yeah, it's all of these.
Do away with critical race theory in a lot of other states.
Because sometimes it veers off into things that are really not appropriate in schools.
So how do you govern that?
If you're telling 5-year-olds that you're either an oppressor or someone who was oppressed, you're introducing ideas about race that...
I love how Bill Maher will get on here and be like, well, some schools might not teach proper history. We might just have to live with that. But he found only one example in one school of them teaching this nonsense, which even then I'm pretty sure he took out of context. And he's like, nope, we just can't do critical race theory anywhere because I found one example. Meanwhile, we have thousands of examples in one large ass state, and he's like, but that's okay. Like, no, like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this comparison? What is this? What is this equalization? These two things aren't like
for kids that age who can't understand it.
Okay, so common sense would
common sense is what's lacking in this country. That's why, but that is why people wind up.
Trust me, Bill. It's not your sense.
Often the laws go too far, but it's not coming out. It's not coming from nothing. It's coming from things that have started in colleges and very far left woke thinking that many people feel is not appropriate.
Do you think he can even... So far left just means woke. Woke just means far left. That's circular, you dipshit.
Read in schools. I mean, the same thing with gender stuff. You know, can they just be kids for a minute?
Right.
Okay.
And that's absolutely.
You already call them boys and girls. What are you talking about?
That level of maturity when a child can understand that at certain times in this country's history, there was a grave mistreatment of other human beings.
I think we get that.
No, we don't get it. What do you mean you get
it? Really? You think that is...
Bill, what, over 10 years ago you did a documentary about people people with really out there religious beliefs, and you think people get the race stuff? This is just I don't even know what to call this. This is just fucking stupidity. This is just fucking being stupid. Fucking leave your house. Go back to the South where you spent all your time filling your documentary to make fun of religious people, and go find out how much people know about our racist history and our relation to race in this country.
Not something that is now widely understood and agreed.
It's definitely not widely understood.
That America has a sorry racist past?
It's talked about and whispered, but they don't know.
Whispered?
Yes. What, the Jim Crow laws? So Emancipation Proclamation in 1865.
It's like super not.
It was 1965 or in 1964 when the Civil Rights Act was passed by LBJ.
But this is 2023.
It took 100 years.
I know, but...
We're just...
My point.
Can we live in the year we're living in? You don't think...
Of course you live in the year living in.
Okay, well, the year we're living in is not...
drive me to drink.
It's not what you're describing.
Fucking drink all you want, Heisenberg.
In America, yes, that I think most right-thinking people would agree was deplorable in so many ways. No, I'm good.
You good?
It's tasty, though.
It is good.
It's very different, and I like it.
It's a little smoky, but not
because
too
it's
smoky.
mezcal
and not tequila. Because it's smoked and not steamed.
Yeah. I don't know what any of this means.
What were we arguing about?
Well, probably the Golden Globes, which you sound like you should be making.
Hello.
No, I just think we need to live in the year we're living in. And
what does that fucking mean? What I just want to live in 2023, man. Like, all right. What the fuck does that even mean? Like, what concept of America would you like to live with? The one where we only passed the Civil Rights Act less than 100 years ago? Or would you like to live in the fantasy land where, you know, black people and white people have been getting together and fucking collecting daisies on the fucking hills over in the Midwest for the last 300 years? Like, which one would you like to teach our children? Would you like to teach them that everything has all been gravy since the founding of our country, that we signed the Declaration of Independence, fought off the British, and everyone's gotten along since, but somehow in 2022, we're all divided amongst political lines because some people got one version of history and other people's got another? Do you think Bill Maher has any kind of concept of, the Daughters of the Confederacy or whatever, and the rewriting of history that they've done through textbooks in the South? Like, this is... Fuck's sake, educate yourself before you bitch about the education of others, for God's sakes. You're a millionaire, Bill. Why is somebody who's living in a little apartment in Colorado telling you about fucking information that you should have already learned? This is all stuff Bill Maher was born in, like, what, probably the 70s? No, not even. Probably more like the 60s. Which means Bill Maher should have parents that he should be able to ask and be like, hey, how was white people's relationship to black people back when you were younger? You're gonna be pretty shocked by their answers, Bill. Like, holy shit. Like, there are people who are still alive who haven't even entered retirement yet, who were alive before they had equal rights to white people. This is not 100 years ago. We're not even up to 70 years yet. Fucking A. Like...
acknowledging progress is not saying the past isn't horrible or that we're done and there's no more work to be done. It's just being realistic about where we are today. And where we are today is nothing like the times you're describing. As bad as they were. So
nobody owns black people anymore. Nobody's saying that.
Obsessed on the past. The past is important. It's not the only thing.
They teach it like the Holocaust.
Again, I think most places do teach it. There are places.
No.
You already said Texas doesn't.
That go too far on either side. Can we agree with that?
There's
but I bet you most places in America. I mean, again, this is 2023. The people who are doing the teaching are of a generation that is not mostly interested in suppressing the past or being racist. I mean,
I disagree with that.
Well, then you don't watch a lot of the videos that they themselves post.
They themselves.
Teachers and educators. Trust me,
Bill Maher, I found some TikToks of teachers, and now all the entire teaching profession needs to be put on blast.
They're hyper aware of race. If anything, it is injected
because they're called educators.
But you sound like you're more in the Hollywood.
Do you think Bill Maher would say any of this about the Holocaust? Honestly, do you think Bill Maher would say literally anything resembling this about the Holocaust? Do you think Bill Maher, do you think if somebody said, Bill, come on, Holocaust was like 100 years ago, you know, it wasn't even in this country, why are we even teaching it? You know, like, it's not that important, it's not even part of our history, except that we like fought the Nazis, but that's not really like, you know, we have nothing to do with the Holocaust. We don't need to be teaching our kids about like the greatest evil ever done on like a group of people, like ever in human history. Like we don't need to do that. We don't need to do that at all. Like, do you think Bill would agree with that? No. Bill would be like, what do you mean? You have to teach the Holocaust. It's like an incredibly important moment in the history of the entire world. It's like, oh, really? Really? That's an incredibly important moment in history? Yeah, no shit. So is the history of the largest and wealthiest and most central country in the world. Like, yeah, no shit. It's kind of important for people to know how we got to the point that we got to.
Camp, and that's fine. It doesn't mean we have to.
No, it's like it's a humanistic camp. I want. Did you know when you were a child? Did you know that segregation was all through?
Again, when I was a child, was the 60s.
Yeah.
This is 2023.
Holy shit, Bill. So you're telling me that people were segregated within your lifetime and you don't give a shit? Nice.
To like, yeah,
how
Bill,
what? It's
as
still
if the
present.
same people. It is still, of course, you know what? Racism is always going to be present in not just white people, but in all people, to a certain degree. You can't completely
what the
sanctify
fuck?
Human nature. It's just what it is. It's tainted. We try to extirpate it as much as we possibly can, but we can't. Certainly, it's a great thing that we've passed most of the laws that you would need. I mean, discrimination is illegal, has been for a very long time. Obviously, it'll always be fought in the courts and so forth. But I mean, as opposed to these errors you're talking about when it wasn't even the law.
I love how Bill Maher will say, like, discrimination is illegal now. Like, we just wrote the word discrimination equals illegal. Bill, that's not how this works. You have to define what counts as discrimination and what doesn't. That's why you constantly have fights over discrimination laws, and you constantly have people who argue like, well, I think it's my freedom. If I don't want to hire somebody, I shouldn't have to hire somebody. And then you go and look and you're like, sir, you've hired 10 people in the last year, and you've gotten 20 resumes from black people and 20 resumes from white people. Not one black person got hired. Would you like to explain this? And they go, look, I don't think the government should be concerned with how and who I hire. I think I should have the right to hire whoever I want. Meanwhile, black people who live in that community don't have jobs, live in squalor, and aren't able to pay their bills because there's this thing called like racist employment filtering. Like, so yeah, like you have to, like, you're constantly fighting this because people are constantly finding new fucking ways to discriminate against people. One of the largest ones being, by the way, having schools funded exclusively by housing taxes. That's also another system that disproportionately negatively affects black kids, black students, black neighborhoods. Their schools don't get funded because their neighborhoods have a lower housing market, a lower priced housing market, meaning the taxes collected are even lower. And it's why It's also why a lot of richer Americans will fight their kids going to other school districts, to poorer school districts, because they don't want their funding going to those neighborhoods, even though it would improve not the lives of all of those people, and their kids would get would conceivably get a better education if everyone was funded by a schooling credit, basically, or a schooling tax, I should say. But no. Instead, we have nice, rich neighborhoods funded by nice, rich parents, and then their kids get good educations with competitive teaching wages, with all sorts of school resources. And then you drive to the other side. You drive about a mile down the road, and you're gonna see some shit ass, bum ass, broken down ass school overflowing with kids whose parents either can't afford to own their houses and pay rent, meaning that none of those housing taxes are actually going towards the funding of schools, or B, their housing has been it's not like a proper suburb the same way some of these richer neighborhoods are, and they're just gentrified neighborhoods that are slowly crumbling, and also drives down the housing market, which drives down the taxes, which means their kids' education suffer. This is another example of how the systems disproportionately affect specifically African American, but a lot of kids, a lot of POC youth, unfortunately. But Bill's just like, oh, what? It's fine.
Oh, Jim Crow, yes. Before the Civil Rights Act, yes. But that's a long
yeah,
time ago.
Yeah,
So,
it's really not though.
The country in 2023 is populated by seething racists who are unaware of our past and
it is, because there definitely is.
I do agree that there are people who want to move forward without looking at the past. And when you move forward without looking at the past and course correcting, you're in trouble, because it can happen again.
Well, can't we do both? Can't we be cognizant of the past and move forward?
Yes, you can. Let me ask you
and
a question.
acknowledge the present also.
And let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
When you look at this guy's hat, "Make America Great Again," what do you think about that?
Sweetheart, nobody has made more fun of Donald Trump than I.
I know.
So
I don't give a shit, Bill. I care if you making fun of somebody is actually substantive.
I get your point. I've said it myself. Yes, make America great again. I understand to a certain number of people that's a dog whistle about.
To a certain number of people. Would you like to know what the number is, Bill?
Okay, but
the point is what that number is.
Also accept that there's a large swath of people in his camp and other people like him who have no clue that that's a dog whistle. That they think, oh yeah, make America great again is for everyone. But when was it great? Let me ask you this. I know, oh God.
I mean,
making a big sigh. Come on.
No.
When was it great for African Americans in this country? When was it great?
Well, if you're applying for college now, I would say now.
So in our
yes, you can. If you're applying for college now, yes, it's great for everybody who can take on enormous sums of debt to maybe see a return on that investment. That's the positive future that Bill Maher wants to support. Totally.
History. Now, it's great.
I didn't say great. It's never great for anybody fully.
Well, never great for anybody?
Well, life is full of problems. So great, yes, if your life is great, you're very lucky. Most people would not say my life is great. Would you say your life is great?
Yes, I would.
He's kind of rich.
Okay. I mean,
I would.
Yeah. I mean,
and
he is the Breaking Bad guy.
And I've been privileged.
Yes.
Do you believe in white privilege?
I like the word advantage better. Because advantage is broad.
What's the substantive difference? Honestly, what's the substantive difference?
Broader. Here's the reason why. When you say advantage, now, have I had advantages, especially growing up in, being again, we were born in the same year, 1956. If you're born in that year.
Holy shit, these fuckers are old.
In the 80s, probably in the 80s, could I have been up for a job at a comedy club when I was working little comedy clubs, and there was a black comedian, and they gave it to me instead because they thought I would do better being a white comedian, or that they were just maybe had racism in them. Yes, I think that probably could have happened, and that was wrong. Again, I didn't do it. We can't all
I'm not saying you're doing it. It's just recognizing that it exists.
I don't think I should be even questioned that I'm someone who doesn't recognize that it exists. Right. I have a pretty good record of speaking on.
Well, consider it. Okay, just keep going. Okay.
Side of civil rights issues. I just like to be real about where we are. And where we are is not.
I'm real.
And
I'm real. I'm really, really real. I'm real.
I think things are, the better person I am.
I'm really, really real.
The left, I think things are worse than you do, so that's what makes me good. And I just want the reality. I just want the truth. What is the truth of the situation? And
Bill, I'm pretty sure you haven't like been living at a working class wage for what, multiple decades now. Maybe you should check in with like everybody else of like how things are going. Like maybe this is one of those like you have this thing called rich people bias, Bill, that have you been struggling the last couple of years? You know, like, you know, did you get fired during COVID? No. Did you get laid off due to COVID? No. Did you lose your health care because of COVID? No. So, like, what the fuck is this? Like, oh, I've had it good, again, so obviously it's been fine.
I'm decrying that these changes are made. I'm applauding it. I'm applauding it. That it's great that if you're a black kid applying to college, yeah, you don't have to face discrimination like they used to. And very often those colleges and businesses also in America are trying to make up for their sorry past.
I think we're not really far apart. I think it's I mean, yes, are there factions that are on both extremes? Of course. But to say you're a liberal person, as I would consider myself,
my boy Heisenberg here feels like, I don't even want to say a liberal. So far, he has said nothing objectionable. Whereas Bill Maher is definitely not a liberal. He is really just a dumb fuck. Like, if you ask me, like, what's Bill Maher's political ideology, I'd say rich dumb fuck. That's his ideology. He's a rich dumb fuck who hasn't checked in with everybody else, has no idea what people are going through, because he's like, what? I'm doing all right. I'm doing fine. Everything's fine. What are you talking about? Things are great. Show's doing great. I'm getting paid millions. I'm doing great.
I think common sense is the law of the land. It's what should be. I think we are in a much better place than we've ever been before, as far as civil rights, as far as acceptance, and
it's just you know, the people who are running the world now are
better's not best, dipshit. Except they're not.
I think you're thinking of your generation, and they are still in place in some places. They're certainly,
guys. The last what, we still haven't had even a Gen X president. I want you to think about that. We have not had a Gen X president yet. Bill Maher's like, what are you talking about? Millennials and Zoomers fucking run the world. How many millennials and Zoomers are in government? How many of them are in relevant positions in government? Almost none. Like, the people, we're only just now finally getting, like, fucking Biden's what, 80 or some shit? Trump, same as Trump, same as Bernie. The closest thing we've had to a youth movement, to a politically, like, youthful, political movement was Bernie. And Bernie's old as shit. I fucking love Bernie. But what is this, like, oh, well, millennials and you know, millennials and Gen Z, you know, they like run stuff now. It's like, do they? Have you seen the average age of Congress? Trust me, it ain't in my age bracket.
Certainly not all racists who are in place, but yeah, there are. You know, like I said, I don't know if we'll ever get rid of it completely, like any human flaw. But the people who are running things, you know, I just don't think that's their mindset. Is let's be racist to people of color.
They don't understand it, but they are innately that way.
Innately?
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
No.
What have you been reading?
Oh, babe. You know, come on.
Is that white fragility or some bullshit like that?
No, it's not white fragility.
Well, that's the book.
No.
Is that where you're getting that
no,
from?
No,
but innately, like original sin, like we're toxically.
All right, let's hit Bill with some facts and some fucking logic here. Oh, that ruins that chart. Okay, well, we're gonna have to live with that one. All right, Bill Maher says, bring that back? Go ahead, Bill, say it again. Say it again. Give me a replay.
Is that where you're getting that from? No. To people of color. But yeah, there are millennials and Gen Zs. They're not, I think you're thinking of your generation.
I think we are in a much better place than we've ever been before, as far as civil rights, as far as acceptance, and
it's just, you know, the people who are running the world now are millennials and Gen Zs.
Millennials and Gen Zs, not Gen Xers. All right, let's take a look at fucking the Senate. All right, let's go. Dianne Feinstein, 1933, 1933, 1934, I gotta go, let's see. 44, 1950. Sessions, 46, 47, 50, 51. Well, look at this. The youngest? You're fucking kidding me. No fucking shot. Guys, Bill Maher thinks millennials and Gen Z run the world now. This is the youngest, sorry, wrong one. This is the youngest senator. Like, the median age of a serving senator is 69. What the fuck is he talking about? Jesus Christ. Fucking, where's, No, not this. Wait, where's, Cory Booker? Holy shit. I thought Cory Booker was, like, young. Holy shit, you're an old man. Wow. Holy fucking shit. My dude is in, oh my god, my dude is 53. Yeah. Like, guy, like, what? I don't even need to say anything more.
They're not, I think you're thinking of your generation, and they are still in place in some places.
In some places, such as all of Congress.
But yeah, there are, you know, like I said, I don't know if we'll ever get rid of it completely, like any human flaw. But the people
the closest we get is like some Gen Xers in the 70s. And that's the bottom. That's the absolute bottom.
I don't understand it, but they are innately that way.
Innately?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, no.
What have you been reading?
Oh, babe. You know, come on.
Is that white fragility or some bullshit like that?
No, it's not white fragility.
Well, that's the book. Is that where you're getting that?
No, no.
But innately, like original sin, like we're toxically white.
No, that's inherently, you dipshit.
Born racist?
Not toxically, but you recognize your experience, and what we don't recognize often is the privilege that you said, the advantage that you have. We look at Congress.
Thank you. Oh my God, Heisenberg.
You cannot deny.
Fucking based as shit.
Are the predominant factor in Congress.
I don't have the stats in front of me, but there's plenty of people in color in Congress, and yes, we are moving from a place.
Plenty of people. Got it.
Where it was all white. We get it.
Yes.
But what direction is it going? And I'd like to see the numbers in Congress. Certainly in the Democratic Party, I bet you.
Who gives a shit? The Democratic Party's not everybody.
Percentage-wise,
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can't just always be like, oh, but what if we just look at the Democratic Party? Republicans run multiple states. I'm sorry, but they're part of this country. You have to factor them into this.
Less so in the Republican Party, but I have to tell you, Republicans are doing better and better all the time with people of color.
I hope so.
Because
would be nice.
Bullshit actually doesn't help any black people. See, to me, there's a difference between liberalism and wokeism. Liberalism is about lifting people up. Woke is just about self-loathing and hating yourself and scolding everyone.
Yeah, again, do you think like Bill Maher could define woke at all? Do you think Bill Maher could actually define liberalism either?
Everybody and virtue signaling. It doesn't actually help anybody.
Wowzers, this might be...
Hey, wow, it autoplayed, that's why. Okay, let's go back real quick. My point is I'm a dipshit. That's the point. Where the fuck is the autoplay option? Why was that on? Why is that even on? No, I said don't. Okay, we're gonna come back to me, which is fine, but I don't know why that was like immediate. It's like, hey, you done with the video? On to the next one. Get going. Yeah, where's the is it this? Annotations? No. What the fuck? That's so weird. Subtitles, playback speed. Oh, I didn't even realize I left that on. Okay, well, that's fine. That's where the fuck? Okay, okay, I guess auto play isn't. Okay, whatever. Probably because it's in a playlist. I'm assuming that's why. Anyway, okay. Anyway, so we all understand now that Bill Maher is a dipshit. Holy fuck, that was actually worse than I thought it would be. Bill Maher kind of, so obviously, like, besides just being wrong on like the facts, Bill clearly lives in his own little universe where everything's all right, nobody's racist anymore, not realizing that he actually travels in the like upper echelons of rich liberal circles, which means, yeah, Bill, if you spend all your time with rich liberals, you're probably gonna come away with the idea of like, man, like nobody's like racist anymore. This is great. Everyone's like pretty good about racism around here. Every once in a while, there's like someone says something a little off brand, but I mean, everything seems to be doing all right. Meanwhile, the rest of us who live in red states or don't live in this rich liberal bubble, we all understand what's going on. We all understand that the kind of racism that we saw back in the 1960s, the 1950s is very much alive. It's just a couple layers deeper that you got to dig. Just a few. You got to listen out for a few extra dog whistles. That's all you got to do, and it's rather obvious. But the thing that they tell, like at the end of all YouTube videos where they tell you to like click on one of these like things to watch more videos. Yeah, I've been meaning to film one of those. So that's what I was doing. I was just setting it up to film one.